All right, people checking in from Scotiabank Arena. I have a Raptors Media OG. All right. Play-by-play for Sportsnet, Eric Smith. Eric, thank you, man.
Yeah, good to see you, man.
Good to see you as well. Now, can we talk about your book first? Because I remember that I did say I do want to interview you for your book, by the way, and I still plan to do that.
Right,
we can make that happen, right?
We'll do it.
Okay, so first of all, what has that been like? We the Raptors.
Yeah.
Tell us about it.
I mean, the response so far has been great. We were on bestsellers list in week 1, which was like not expected and off the charts amazing.
Yeah.
And sorry if that sounds like a humble brag a little bit, but I'm proud of it. It was an idea that popped up during COVID, and I'm sure when I come on your show or whatever, we can dig into it a little bit more and really kind of get into the nuts and bolts of it. But my brother-in-law is actually the co-author. And he's a Canadian guy who lives overseas now in Belgium as a English history professor at Ghent University. And during COVID, he said to me, "Have you ever thought about writing a book?" And my initial answer was no. Like I honestly had never thought about it. Didn't think I ever would. But I think we were all at the time sort of looking for something creative to do and something to keep our mind occupied and off of COVID and the pandemic and everything else. So I started to warm to the idea of like, well, if we did sort of have this little passion project or something, what could it be? What might it be? And we landed on, I'm going to put you on the spot for a second. We landed on this concept where, and I feel like you could do this, I'm kind of giving away the secret recipe to everybody, or the not so secret recipe. Not like I'm some genius for coming up with this, but we talk about sports fans all the time about the top 3, the top 5, the top 10, the Mount Rushmore. But it seems like for the Raptors, and you can probably say this about a lot of teams, but for the Raptors and the fan base, if you think back, Mike, over the years and looking up into the stands, yeah, there was the number. Well, now I said I was going to make you go. I was going to put you on the spot. Okay. Who are the top 5 players in franchise history? In no particular order. No particular order. Who are the top 5 guys in Raptors franchise history?
Kyle Lowry.
Yeah.
Vince Carter.
Okay.
Chris Bosh.
Okay.
Kyle Lowry. Kawhi Leonard.
Okay.
Has to be in there.
Because you're not winning the title without him, right?
Yeah. And DeRozan.
Those are the 5.
Yeah.
So again, this wasn't set up. Those are the 5.
Okay.
But where I was going with that is when you look up in the stands, and you've been doing this a long time and been in this building, what about number 13 Doug Christie jerseys and number 13 Jerome Williams jerseys and Antonio Davis and Alvin Williams and TJ Ford and Charlie Villanueva, Jose Calderon, Jorge Garbajosa. The list goes on. Norm Powell, Danny Green, even the current day. RJ Barrett hasn't yet been an all-star, but how important is he to this team? Patrick Patterson, Gravis Vasquez, Bismack Biyombo, Corey Joseph, all these dudes, people bought their jerseys. People were fans of their game. They cheered for those players, not just Kyle, DeMar, and Kawhi, and Vince, and Chris Bosh, but they cheered for the other guys, whether it be fellow starters or bench guys or whatever. What if we told their stories and the history of the team or some of the historic moments in the history of the team through the lens of those players that we really don't hear from as much anymore? Because with due respect, understandably so, we hear a ton from Vince and Kyle and DeMar and Kawhi and whatever. Yeah. But what about all these other dudes? So that's where the book kind of sprung from. And when we pitched it to a bunch of publishers, they loved the idea. We ultimately pared down.
Fantastic idea.
And we kind of ran with it from there. So it's not really just a 30-year history book. It's more a collection of short stories about what do these guys think about Toronto, what brought them to Toronto, what did they like about the fan base, the city, etc. And like I say, the response so far, knock on wood, it keeps going, has been great from the Raptor fans and the players that took part. Were loving the process.
Matt, so before we started recording this, I showed Eric a picture, and of course his book is sitting in front of my house in an Amazon box waiting for me, and I was hoping to bring it down here to Scotiabank Arena to get Eric to sign it for me.
We'll get it done.
That's going to have to wait.
Yeah, we'll get it done. We'll get it done.
And in the description, actually, I'm going to put a link to We The Raptors at the bottom, so please go support the book and pick it up. You can get it right from Amazon and get it straight to your door.
Appreciate that, yes.
So, Eric, before we get out of here, we're going to talk a little Raptors now, okay? Because they're playing pretty damn well to start the season. What have your thoughts been so far on this team?
So I have the receipts that I could show you to prove to you that before the season started, there are radio, interviews and TV appearances and whatnot. I thought this was a playoff team before the season started. And when I say playoff, I mean playoff, not just play in. I thought they were a top 6 team. Now, a lot of that was based on, as it probably is every year for every team in every sport, health being the number one factor. If they stay healthy, that's the big underscore on the if. And then how quickly will they get the concepts of Darko locked in. And the concepts for Darko coming out of training camp were, this team is going to be rooted in defense. Might not hold teams to 85, 90 points, because that's not today's NBA. Defense in today's NBA is maybe hold them to 105 or less. But get into pass lanes, pick up full court sometimes, deflections, making it tough on the glass, just pestering guys, forcing turnovers, and then using that to ignite the offense in terms of the fast break, get the ball to its floor. Sometimes we don't even want to see the ball hit the floor at all. Just pass, get it up in a hurry, swing it around, play unselfish. 30 assists per game minimum is the benchmark that this team wants. So when you start combining those two worlds, can they do it? Will they do it? Well, they are doing it, and they're showing more of a tendency to do it, and I think because of their winning. And I'm a big believer, and maybe I'm full of it, but I'm a big believer in the contagious feeling that is winning. I'd say it in any walk of life, in any business. If you're doing well in whatever you're doing, or you've got coworkers that are pulling for you and you're all pulling in the right direction, I'm going to assume that you're going to be more willing to do it the next day and the next day and the next day, because you're seeing the rewards from it and you're reaping the benefits of it. If the business is struggling, or if you're feeling down, or somebody's not pulling their weight, and you feel like, well, then I got to step up and I got to do it and I got to... And now it becomes I instead of we. And I think so far the Raptors have been very much about the we, and that's why we're seeing an RJ Barrett and a Brandon Ingram and a Scotty Barnes, let alone even quickly stepping up, where they're all in the neighborhood of 16, 17, 18, 20 points per game in this 3-4-headed monster that have become the Raptors, let alone the success of the second unit and how much of a key cog Sandro Mamukelashvili has become, let alone Jamal Shed, etc.
He is an amazing
He's
player.
been great.
Like, I knew he was good, but I didn't know how good he actually was until seeing him in these. Talk about his production off the bench.
He's been like a revelation for this team, because they're already undersized, right? And it's not like he's not a 7-footer. He's got a little bit of length to him, a little bit of girth to him, but get on the glass, pretty good with his hands in terms of passing the ball, moving the ball, speed in the open court for a big man, and the ability to knock it down from the perimeter too. He's been big for this team. And then when you factor in the other big, he's been banged up the last couple of days dealing with a knee issue, but the rookie Colin Murray-Boyles has been fantastic when he's been able to play. I already mentioned Shed. I would argue, listen, last year on the team, and I know it was a rough year, so maybe this isn't saying a lot. If he wasn't their best defender, he was in the top 3. Ochai Agbaji doesn't even play that much right now. And that's not meant as a criticism. I think it just speaks to the depth of this team and some of the other weapons that they now have. Again, partially on top of that, because they're healthy. And it just makes your team that much better when a guy who was a key cog and a regular starter last year and a primary defender is suddenly not even playing that much, because you're that much better. And it's total cliche, but these games right now in October, November, matter just as much as those late season 100%. Games in March and April. So stockpile it now, build yourself a little cushion, because at some point there's going to be a losing streak. There's going to be a speed bump or two here or there, but thus build up as much, wins as you can right now, and as much wiggle room as you can to maybe let you ride through some of those rougher patches that will come.
Now, I've talked about this a lot on the podcast, because he's still, I guess, kind of like the new guy, because we didn't see him last season, but Brandon Ingram, right? Coming into the fold. What have you liked most about what you're seeing from him?
I'll tell you what I didn't know the guy at all before he got here. I mean, I know his game, sure, been around him, seen him in New Orleans, in Los Angeles, et cetera, but I don't know him personally. He's a very approachable guy, super soft-spoken, but approachable, decent to talk to. He gives off that vibe sometimes, right? That he might not be. Easy to talk to. Talked to him a couple of times at training camp, passed him in the hallways here, just like, how you doing, whatever. And like, again, real quiet, but just personable, and seems like he's enjoying himself. And I will be honest, I have not had this conversation with him, so I haven't asked him this question. This is just my theory. I could be dead wrong. When you're in New Orleans the last X number of years, you're not feeling 100%, team's not winning, building's not full, half full at best. Team's not really heading in any direction. I'm going to think that maybe the human element comes in. We're like, man, I'm still kind of banged up. Maybe I'm not ready to come back yet. Or like that knee or that elbow, that shoulder, that whatever, just maybe still kind of hurts a little bit longer. And again, I'm not trying to say that he was dogging it by any means. I'm simply saying, again, I'll put myself in the situation. Not that I ever was or even close to being a professional athlete, but in anybody's walk of life, if things are going well, even in your personal life, if things are going well,
You just mentioned that.
you kind of like, you know what? I'm going to wake up feeling a little more refreshed tomorrow, even if I only got 4 or 5 hours of sleep.
Yes.
I'm going to be more inclined to pull from my husband, my wife, my significant other, whoever it is, or my boss who's really, or my coworker. Even though I might not be feeling the greatest, I'm going to find a way to get through it. I feel like he's in a situation now where team's winning, building's full, he feels better, he likes the environment he's around, he's starting to see some of the benefits from it, he sees an engaged fan base, yada, 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 yada,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
things start rolling and start feeling better. So knock on wood that he can stay healthy. I think that that's what stands out most is just the attitude and the aura that he brings to this team, let alone to himself, and in terms of that sort of awakening or that rebirth in a sense that he's been, I think, needing and wanting for quite some time.
So lastly, before we get out of here, Eric, in this city, but not just in this city, I think from around the NBA, right? When you think about the Toronto Raptors, you probably think Scotty Barnes first.
Mm-hmm.
What have you noticed about Scotty Barnes so far this season? Anything different? Anything that you've seen him improve upon?
I think as much as he was already a very good defender, I think he's been a better defender in terms of how engaged he is, how active he is. His communication, I think, has been better from a defensive standpoint, calling out plays, calling out guys, really trying to be that sort of quarterback, especially on the defensive end. And on the offensive end, even though he's actually been pretty decent from the perimeter this year, let alone at stretches in his career, I feel like we're seeing him get down in the post more, backing guys down and recognizing that can be a major asset to his game, especially, clearly when being guarded by smaller guys. Use your length, use your size. And I think he might be seeing some of that even coming from a Brandon Ingram. The post and the mid-range, it can be your friend. It doesn't have to be. I know today's NBA is still all about the threes and threes and threes, but if you can use that as a serious weapon and you've got that 6'8", 6'9" length in that frame and you've got the ability to go over top people and you've still got some size to back down a smaller player and get yourself literally right to the rim and dunk it on somebody's head, I think we've seen more of Scotty doing that, and I think that can be a major asset for him.
Raptors Media OG Eric Smith, We The Raptors. I will have the link in the description, people.
All right.
Thank you, Eric.
Thanks, Mike.
Appreciate you, man.